Hey, 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 I'm Michelle.
And I'm Greta.
We are girlfriends who have always been seekers. We love learning, sharing, and most of all, we love having those soul-to-soul moments with our girlfriends.
Our podcast is about spiritual connection and sisterhood. You are not alone. So grab your glass, get comfy, and join us as we make some noise, light up the room, and
Get into it.
Welcome. We are so excited because today we have back again the phenomenal Coach Jacqui from Pursuit to Happy. We just couldn't be more grateful that you accepted our request for you to come back and talk to us about self-care.
Yes. Oh, I couldn't resist because A, two of my favorite people in the world are here.
We love you.
And B, honestly, self-care, the more we talk about it, the more people are doing it. So yes.
It is one of those topics that you can't talk enough about because it's so important, right? And how many women, I know we've mentioned this before on previous podcasts, but how many women out there go and help and are there for everyone. But then when we turn, that mirror to look at ourselves, something shifts a little bit.
1000%. That's most women, right? Like we're out there pouring into everybody else and our cups are running empty. And so self-care is that filling up of that cup, hunty. Yes.
And I think one of the big things to point out is we are in a bit of a mental health crisis in the world. And I truly and strongly believe that some of that is originated by us not taking the time, slowing down in our lives, and really looking at self-care as something that is actually vital to our health and well-being.
Oh, yeah.
So I love this topic. This is so near and dear to my heart because I do feel like I am one of the queens of self-care. I'm just going to say that proudly. I am all about the spa environment, and we're going to talk about all the different types of self-care. So it doesn't mean you have to be spending, every weekend at the spa. There are so many things you can do. And I know you're going to tell us about quite a few things that you do yourself. And that's what we're here to do, is just kind of share what we do to fill ourselves up so that we can keep on running and, filling our cups so that we can give.
I think it's important what you just said is that self-care looks different for everyone. So you really have to think about, what do I need? You really have to go within. And I know for me today, self-care looked like ordering my groceries so I didn't have to run around to 3 different stores before a camping trip. And that's something that I would have felt guilty about in the past. But a very good friend was like, what are you doing? No, this is accessible to you. And yes, you might pay a little bit more, but now I have that awareness of I'm worth it. My mental health is worth it.
I love what you just said, Greta. I love what both of you guys said. Self-care, first of all, isn't selfish. Self-care is a phenomenal part of being. It is what is needed. And we have become so accustomed to this hustle culture. You are wearing hustle as a badge of honor. You're wearing your tiredness as a badge of honor. You're wearing your not getting enough sleep as a badge of honor. And let's just keep it 1000. It's not.
No, this society is fucked up when it comes to that.
It is not. It's not a badge of honor. So self-care does look like ordering your groceries. And the extra money that you pay, let's keep it 1000. Greta, the time that you ended up saving, isn't it worth more than the money that you paid?
Fuck yeah, it is.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, your self-care journey is different for each and every one of us. Self-care is also setting boundaries. It's setting boundaries with those people who seem to invade your personal happiness. It's setting boundaries with the people who you need to start saying no to. Self-care is knowing that no is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain yourself. Just say no.
Absolutely. And it's all about what you need. And why is that so hard to say? I need this. I need this for myself, for my soul. And I love that you brought it to that point, Jacqui, where it's not just about maybe the physical part of what we think about, meditating or exercising. This goes beyond that. There's so much more. And what you said, Greta, about valuing yourself, though, sometimes we got to reel it back and just go, let me start with that. I do value myself. Like, say that 1,000 times. I do value myself. And because of that, I'm going to make these choices so that I can take care of my needs.
Exactly. What you have to realize is our behavior stems from what we're thinking about ourselves every day. You know, what you have going on inside, you're going to see it outside in your external world constantly. And so when you start to get to the point where you're like, you know what, I'm going to value myself. I am worthy. That worthy person shows up very differently than the person who doesn't think they're worthy. That person who says, I am valued, shows up in their life differently, and they behave differently than the person who does not feel valued. So it is a matter of changing your mind about what you think about yourself. And that's where self-care comes in. When you take care of you, because I tell people self-care is an everyday thing. This ain't no just, once a month. This is an everyday thing. And it's not something big. You don't have to spend a lot of money. It does look like waking up and meditating, or it does look like waking up and saying affirmations. It does look like waking up and listening to your favorite podcast. Hello, somebody.
Listen,
Right?
if you're not.
Yes, right? But that's what it is. And it's listening to things that uplift you. But it is about taking care of you, pouring into you. I tell people, especially mamas, give yourself 60 minutes before them kids wake up.
Yeah.
Don't play them games, because as soon as they wake up, you're pouring into them and you forget about you. So when you wake up and put you first, your day will go different.
It's really easy to do as moms to blur that line. I think you might have those really defined lines when it comes to other adults or other people in your life. But when it comes to your kids, something maternal happens and you're just like, oh, I need to do whatever I need to do for these kids. And I think that's when mothers get themselves into a little bit of trouble.
1,000%. And then I think the funny thing about all of that is your kids are here for a journey too. So as you're not taking care of yourself, you're teaching them to do the same. We are examples. You're doing so much to pour into your kids. You're not realizing that your example is saying more than every action you may take.
Right. The exhausted mommy that's showing up is actually giving them a bigger message than the mom that's like, I need that hour before, or I'm going to go take a 5-minute time out in the potty or wherever I need to go to refill. So that's a super important point. And one thing I wanted to mention is it really just hurts my soul when I have clients that come to me and it's almost like the heart attack happened or the blood pressure went up or something big medically was this major alarm system. And then the decision came, I got to back it up. Even though the climb there was already giving so many little warning signs. And as a massage therapist, I used to see this all the time where finally people were like, my doctor said I had to come and get a massage. My husband said. It's almost like there needed to be this level of permission where guess what though? We can give ourselves permission and don't wait until that breaking point.
Right. Don't wait until it's like life or death. Your
Right.
body's speaking to you all the time. Pay attention to the little taps, the little warnings.
Yes, because that work that you were nervous about not getting done, or the time you're spending with your kids that you think if I take this time for me, I'm missing out on that. You ain't gonna have none of that when you're in the hospital. You ain't gonna have none of that when your body's breaking down and you can't go run and chase after your child because you're in so much pain. And now whatever else is consuming that time. And I guess that's always my big thing. I want to give this message to people who are on that point where it's in their mind, like they're starting to think about these things, but they haven't given themselves permission just yet. And so even if it's us telling you right now, like, girl, go out and go do those things. We are giving you permission right now. Do it.
Yes. And a lot of the times I love the permission piece. There's so many of us who aren't giving ourselves permission. We're just literally like, oh no, I can't. I could never, not me. And really at the end of the day, always you, because this self-care could save your life.
Yeah.
This self-care can keep you from that heart attack. This self-care can keep you out of the hospital. Heck, this self-care can keep you sane and keep you from cussing out your kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
causing more permanent damage for them later on.
Damage. Like now they're mad and cussing out the world
Right.
because of you.
Can't we replace the F-bomb with maybe a deep breath?
There we go.
A deep calming
There
breath.
we go.
And
Yes.
some time, much needed time away, probably.
Much needed
And
time.
I also liked how you mentioned that we are the example to our kids. And we've talked about this many times on the podcast because we really do believe it to be true. They're watching us. We are their example on how to treat themselves. themselves. And so when they're seeing you just, burn the candle at both ends, oh, that's what makes a good mom. Oh, that's what makes someone successful. And we've got it twisted. That is not success. Success is a whole person that is balanced and happy at the end of the day.
And you just made me think of something that I feel for myself is really important. I wonder if others out there think about this too. But I know there's times when I even look at my own children, and I have one daughter in particular who she takes time out throughout the day to rest, where she needs to disconnect from the energy around her, whether it's coming home from school or coming home from cheer practice. And I remember always feeling, because I am very extroverted and I get a lot of my fill from others, looking at her and thinking, oh my gosh, are you being antisocial? Like, why are you kind of in this space? And what I've even come to realize and have to respect is that this is her taking care of herself. This is how she needs to refill. So I've even had moments where I'm watching my kids and looking and seeing and trying to change some of what they're doing, but then also receiving that lesson that it's like, no, that is what she needs. And I have to honor that for her. And now I find myself even doing that a little more, where I'm like, okay, I need that time by myself.
Our kids teach us all the time if we pay attention and don't let our egos get in the way.
And we have to allow them to be who they are, right? That's a hard one too, because it's like, no. Like you said, the society that goes. So it's like, why are you retreating? Are you sick? What's going on? And it's like, no, like I just need some time to regenerate.
I love that. I'm like, bravo to your daughter.
I know.
She is phenomenal. I feel like I just learned from her today too. Okay.
She's a wise one.
Yes. And you're right. We have to let our kids are wise beyond their years. All of them. They've been brought here on their own lessons. And sometimes their lessons are to guide us. Yeah. But, at the end of the day, we are learning from each other. My daughter right now, she writes affirmations on her mirror. I never thought to do that.
Really?
And now I'm like, well, maybe I should write them on my mirror. Like, I like this idea. And she started doing it. She came to ask me, is it okay if I write on my mirror? Sure. What are you writing? My affirmations. Like, okay, queen.
Okay, this next generation is going to kill it.
They're going to kill it.
All the tools.
But really, at the end of the day, that's her form of self-care. Mm-hmm. She needs to keep the affirmations going so she can stay high vibe.
Sweet baby.
So I love that. Like, I love affirmations. I do them, but she learned them from me. And she started getting in the mirror with me. And she loves affirmations. She loves affirming herself. And so that form of self-care, and
she's making it a habit.
It's a habit.
She made it a habit. And so I love this. Let's dive into this more. Like, let's talk about all the different things that we all do. And I love that your daughter does that, because first thought is like, oh, writing on the mirror. No. But you know what?
I'm not allowed.
But guess what? If that's where she gets to reflect, like, metaphorically and physically, like she's looking at herself, reading these things out. She is putting those words into her and watching herself do it. Yes. Like, how powerful is that?
How powerful is that? So yeah, I love how you said, let's talk about what we're doing. That is phenomenal. Affirmations have literally brought me out of depression. Like, I was in a very depressed state. Affirmations brought me up off the ground and out of depression. And a lot of people are like, but if I don't believe it, a belief is a practice thought.
Yep.
Jacqui, I love that you're being so vulnerable with our audience right now and talking about your depression, because if anybody was to watch you or listen to you, they would never think,
oh yeah, that girl's
Coach Jacqui could ever be depressed. No. You're probably one of the most effervescent people I've ever met. And just thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, it was a crazy time. I was going through a lot. I felt like my job, I wasn't succeeding. My relationship, I wasn't succeeding. I wasn't succeeding as a mama. Like, I just felt like everything was falling apart. And so I was depressed. And, I had to get back to loving me. And so that first look in the mirror, that first good morning, gorgeous, is where it all began. And from there on, every day, I would get back up and be like, okay, good morning, gorgeous. And before I knew it, I was talking to myself in the mirror. Hey, girl, so yeah, boop, 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 And then before I knew it, and I tell everybody this, I'm not shy to say this, I started dancing butt naked in the mirror.
That's my favorite.
Love it.
I always recommend people try it.
But it started as small as just saying, hello, gorgeous. Yeah. So for anyone that's listening that is just in that funky space right now, that's one little tiny thing that you can do. And you know what? Maybe it doesn't sound like it would work or whatever. Just try it.
Try it.
What the hell?
I dare you to.
Yeah. This is a dare. We are now challenging you.
You too. Because really, like you said, it doesn't sound like much.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And when I told my soon-to-be ex-husband to do it, he cried. You know, it's a lot. And it's more than affirmations. There's so many things that we all can do. But affirmations are just when you don't believe it yet, you have to practice the thought.
Yeah. Well, I was even thinking, if you can't even verbally say it yet, maybe you start with writing it. And so that brings me into journaling and how that can be a self-care practice. And so maybe that's where you start, is just writing that down, or even the feelings that you're having around why this is so hard for you. Get in touch with that inner person and just let those feelings, let those thoughts come out and be alive. Don't suppress that, because that's when we store in our muscles and we hold and we grip, and then that manifests in different ways, right? But it's not manifesting us towards our goal. Our goal is to feel good, to receive pleasure in life, to be happy, peaceful. So get out a piece of paper, and you know what? And you can rip it up when you're done if you want. I think just the word, getting out of your head space, because a lot of us live in that place, get it out of the mind, put it on paper, and that therapeutic process, self-care.
Oh, I love journaling. I don't know how many you guys journal. I'm like an obsessive journaler. I mean, I love journaling. I'll do prompted journaling. I do what's called elevated scripting. That is a phenomenal, if you want to feel good all day, elevated scripting is amazing journaling technique where you take what you want to see happen and write it as if it's happening now. Pretend to be your little author. Actually, the way I said it this morning to the group was this: write a letter to your future self. So it's like you're talking to your future self as if it's already here. And you're like, girl, and we got these new Louis Vuitton red bottoms. They're just so fabulous. Like, it's just, because you know what you want to see happen. And like you did say right now, Michelle, we're literally living in our brain. Our brain is literally like, we think 60,000 thoughts a day. 95% of them are on repeat. You're sitting here thinking the same old thoughts, same old thing over and over and over again. When you're journaling, it allows you to either get it out and get it out the way. Get it out my head. I don't want it no more. Or you can journal about what you would rather see happen.
Well, and what you're also describing is an embodiment practice. You are talking about stepping into that image of who you want to be and who you really are. I mean, it's already in you. It's just stepping into that place. And so I love embodiment practices.
Manifestations, right? Yeah. And I think it would be so fun to then go back and look at those journal entries and be like, I'm doing that shit right now. It works.
Okay, ladies. So I know we have this big announcement to share, and I know I'm just kind of cutting through this, but it's relevant because I actually have some journal entries that I made when I was in my 20s, and it was all about self-care. It was how I had no guilt around doing things that allowed me to do this, but also part of that was I wrote that I wanted to start hosting women's retreats.
Wow. Shut the front door.
Love it.
Swear.
I didn't even know that until just this minute.
Swear. So I know I'm just sort of crashing in with this,
you're
but like,
phenomenal.
can we make
Cheers to that.
We do, and I have that on my
Cheers,
vision
girls.
board.
Freaking cool.
Cheers. So can we just like take a moment and talk about what invitation we have for?
Yes. So the reason that we decided to do a podcast today on self-care is because we are hosting a women's retreat. So you manifested your vision that you had for yourself.
And you fabulous ladies. I don't like doing this stuff alone, okay? I'm a team player. There is no I in team. So I got my girls here, and this is going to be so fucking fun.
Yes.
It is.
It really is. I'm so excited about this just because we're all bringing together our expertise. Like everything that we all know, it's coming together and it's going to create such a dynamic. And in the book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about a mastermind. He talks about people coming together, bringing their own ideas, their own beautifulness, their gifts, and making something awesome happen. And I feel like that is exactly what this retreat is going to bring. The awesomeness of the three of us, all of our special gifts, the beautifulness that we bring to the world. And we're going to bring it to you live, like, girl.
Yes. Yay. And in person, like come see us, hang with us. And what we want is so that you can then see within yourself, reconnect with yourself, and find that beautifulness that's within you and the gifts that are in all of us. We all came here with such unique beauty to share with this world. And I think the way our society is set up, we just lose sight of it. You just get caught up in the daily grind and you lose yourself a little bit. I know I have had periods of time in my life where I have lost myself and I had to come back to myself. And this is going to be that safe space to do that. This is going to be that place to like completely let go of all the I should be this, I should do this, I could be this, and like just reconnect with you.
And just be. I love how you say that, because we have a lot of I should, I could, I would, if I did. Let's just come and just be.
And how about I am? I am. Like right now, you're going to come in, drop in, ground yourself, and have the sense of I am, and I am being and becoming, and not by anybody else's standards, and not by what the world looks at as, this defines success. This is about you, getting into that inner you, and in sisterhood, like with support. This is the part that we're so excited about, is like this, you're not alone, sister. We say this a lot because you are not alone. And our promise is that we continue to create an environment where women feel loved and supported and uplifted. So if any of that speaks to you, join us.
See us.
Yes, come see us. And then the cool part about it is, because we're sitting here talking about self-care, we are going to be teaching some amazing self-care techniques where you get to physically do it. You don't just have to hear us tell you to do it. Like, you'll get to actually experience it. And grounding is literally one of my favorite self-care routines. Like, I love grounding. I actually try to ground daily, especially when it's sunny outside. Oh, don't let it be sunny outside. I am outside, feet in the grass, face to the sun, meditating. And nature is beautiful. And just a little bit about grounding, whether you know it or not, within the earth, right? It's a big, big energy ball in the middle of earth. And so when you put your feet barefoot on the ground, you got to take your shoes off, because the shoes are rubber. It's going to block the energy. Take your shoes off in the ground, and then you put your face up to the sun. The sun is energy. It's like recharging a battery. Yeah. It's like you're putting your positive and your negatives right there and recharging your battery within your body.
Because we're conduits, and the energy is flowing in and out, and you need to recharge. You need to reconnect.
So there's a reason why as soon as it gets nice, I take my shoes off and I'm barefoot until it gets freezing. It has to get freezing cold before the shoes come back on.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not just your hippie spirit.
Or maybe it is.
But your hippie spirit knows your energy matters.
Yes, it does. Yes. Absolutely.
It does. And so I love it. That's why I'm so excited about this retreat. There's so many things that you're going to learn. And it's just going to be, I want to say, a 5 senses experience.
Yeah. And we're going to get vulnerable as fuck. Like up in here. We are. We're going to let it all out. And it's just going to be that shared experience.
Yeah. So journaling, we're already touching on some of the things that you might be experiencing, that grounding energy, the breath, sitting in a space that's safe, because that's the other piece of this is, we only have so many spots available, ladies. Yes. So we want this to be this intimate experience where you can feel that you're safe and releasing. Tears may flow, laughter may come, feelings may happen. Like, you may feel this energetic, sense inside of you. And I love that, Jacqui, you're like, it's a 5 sense experience, because it is. Even down to what we're going to be putting in our mouth, the food we're going to be consuming, this mindfulness aspect of what does it mean to feel, touch, smell, taste, anything that you put into your mouth. Like, really be conscious about that.
That is also self-care.
That is absolutely
I'm big
self-care.
on that. What you put in your body, how you nourish yourself, loving yourself enough to put good, healthy food in your body that is nourishing. Sometimes have fun, have the burger and fries. Right. You don't want to deprive yourself, but there's this connection to self that takes place when you are consciously thinking about every bite that you take and the food that you put in your body. So I love this. I'm going to bring something from Gretta's table that you may have seen to share with y'all.
So excited.
So excited.
I mean, the burst of flavors and the smells. Like, I mean, just like take a moment and just even imagine you're holding a lemon in your hand. Close your eyes. Let's just have an experience right now. If you're listening to this, if you're driving, don't do this. Close your eyes for a moment and just imagine that you have a big, juicy lemon that you're holding. And it's a Myers lemon, like the sweetest of them all. And it's a juicy, big, round lemon. And you just put it up to your nose and you're smelling it. And the juices in your mouth are starting, salivation is happening. You haven't even eaten this thing yet. You're just smelling it. You're holding it. You're feeling it. And then imagine just taking, this little bite or lick of this lemon. What does that do for you? Slowing it down, really embracing, where are you feeling that? And so that's part of
It's amazing. I
experience.
smelled it.
I felt it. You know how
my mouth was watery. Yes.
Right, like right back here. I was like, oh, that was sour.
So the power of the mind, right?
Yes.
Like so much of self-care, I think, even going back to the earlier conversation of if something even feels a little bit funky in the beginning and you just make it a practice, like your mind, you can reprogram your mind and whatever is in your subconscious. And that's what we want to do for you. We want to take you to a place where you can truly just embody, embrace, connect, have an experience, and lock that in.
And you can access it anytime on your own afterwards. And I think so many times when you hear the word self-care, you think about a day spa or getting your nails done. I don't actually like that stuff. That's not for me. So, but there's so many, maybe it is for someone else to
It
go
is
get
for
a
me.
massage. So
Say me
like
too.
I hate getting my nails done. I don't like to do it. I like the after effect, but I don't like doing it. So everybody's a little bit different.
Yes.
And I think you just have to think about what that means for you. And self-care is so many different things.
Yeah.
And
it could easily be taking a hike.
Yes.
That's your form of self-care. It could be just sitting. I just love going back to Michelle, your daughter, just her going in her room after big events and decompressing. I know a lot of people like that. That's self-care. Or saying no to the party that everyone else is going to that you just want to be at home.
Yeah.
That's self-care, right? Like it's different for all of us. And the fun part about it is it's just really acknowledging the spaces within you that make you feel good. That's all it is. It doesn't have to be this written out agenda. It's just acknowledging the spaces within you that make you feel good. And within our retreat, my favorite part is learning so many techniques that you can come back to whenever. This may be your thing, right? You just hearing us saying grounding, it's like, oh, I don't know, I ain't gonna try that. Or you just hearing me saying elevated scripting, I'm not gonna try that. I don't know about that, girl. But it's different to sit down and actually do it, experience it, and then say, ooh, I think I'm gonna do this. I think this is gonna be a part of something I do every day.
a ritual.
Right? A ritual.
Yeah.
Because just hearing it is one thing, but to actually experiencing it, like to experience it, you're at a whole different level of life at that point.
And you deserve it.
Oh, God, yes.
You deserve it. As women, we just work so hard, and our role in society is so often just to keep everybody happy.
Yeah.
So this is the time that you get that's just for you.
And I was going to piggyback on that, Greta, because I was thinking of even just telling people, like, just show up. Like, if you come and you're like, I need to just sit on my yoga mat and I don't want to participate in the journal, you know what? Just show up. I have gone to numerous yoga classes where I thought, yep, I'm all in. I need this. And then I got there and my body was like, I just don't want to move today. Like, I need an extra shavasana. I need to be in child's pose a little longer. And guess what? Like, we're holding space for that because the fact that you even made time to join us is self-care practice.
Yes. That time that you're making to join us is you carving it out for you. So however you decide to participate in your time, ain't nobody here to judge you. We get it. It's yours, and especially for busy moms, like you carve this time out and you're here. I just want to be able to enjoy. Like you said, if you just want to sit on your yoga mat and that's your piece, that's your space. Oh, totally here for it. You don't have to journal, but take it home. Maybe try it later.
And I think if you're even listening to this right now and you're just having that little ping of interest, right? Like that something in you, that little voice that maybe you've been ignoring for a lot of years, because we do that too. That could be your sign. This is something that my soul needs.
Absolutely.
And you may may be like, well, that sounds ridiculous. I don't want to do, what am I doing? But if you're getting that little tap, pay attention to that.
Or if you have a friend that needs this. We all
Yes.
have that one friend that we're like, oh, this would be so great for such and such.
That friend that's
invite that friend.
getting
Tell
sick
that
all the
friend.
time.
The friend that's getting sick all the time.
Running themselves ragged.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Constantly putting themselves on the back burner.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we all got one of those.
Yeah.
So go ahead and just tell all your friends like that.
Tell everyone.
Tell everyone. And let's go. I mean, I'm just really excited, not only for, the transformation that I know is going to come forth, but the reconnecting, the being together, the sisterhood, like you said.
Yeah.
That matters.
It really does. And we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
I keep going back to society, but I just think, gosh, we live in this world that was created by men. And so much of what we need as women has been lost throughout that journey. And so to have a space to come back and be with women like we were always meant to be. We were always meant to go through this emotional journey together, share these feelings together. We were never meant to do this alone.
No.
So we're creating a space to at least start to do that.
Yeah.
And we're going to be everywhere, people. This is just the beginning.
Just beginning. And I love what you said. I just want to say this. Community is self-love too. And self-care.
It is.
It is. Surrounding yourself
yes.
with women who you feel comfortable with in that supportive way, non-judging, just uplifting and loving. We've talked about like tribal type things in the past. And when I read about that, I have this desire within me that's like, I wish I was part of that circle. I wish I was part of that time. And you know what? I will say this. It's funny. It always reminds me of camping when everyone is just kind of sitting around the campfire, just laughing, sharing stories, no phones, no technology. And it's sort of that primal feeling that surfaces where it's like, this is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I had a girlfriend actually tell me recently, when's the last time you went and disconnected? I was like, wow, I don't even know what all that means. I was like, I can't think of the last time I disconnected, if ever. And so that is a self-care.
Yeah.
Disconnecting.
Unplug.
And
Yeah.
unplugging. And that's exactly what reconnecting with you would be. Our women's retreat. It's going to be a time for you to do just what Michelle was saying. Disconnect. Like you're at a campfire, everybody around, nobody's connected to their phone. It is going to be that type of sisterhood where you're able to just have the world and shut it out. And this is your own mini oasis, your own mini sanctuary.
Yeah.
Well, who decided, right, that we were just supposed to do this all by ourselves? I remember the saddest time as a mom was me going to the park by myself with the kids. And I wanted to be happy. Like I enjoyed watching my kids play. But I was sad and I didn't know why. And I thought something was wrong with me.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we weren't supposed to just do this alone. And it's great if you do have that tribal sisterhood, but not everybody does.
Not everybody does. So many of us don't.
Well, and I was reading something also that talked about how, like, in a society that's so connected by technology, how come so many people are feeling alone and lonely? And what I came to know after reading, and there's been a lot of studies at, big Ivy League colleges, and it's meaningful relationships is really what we're in search of. It's these, not just the hello and goodbye and seeing somebody or the quick text. Like, it's deeper than that. It's women feeling each other's energy and being surrounded by each other and holding space for the tears, laughing together. Like, when you're doing that together with someone, that's a whole different experience than doing it alone.
Yes.
And so I guess also for me, this feeling that I want people to walk away with is that we are creating a space for you to have that. And even if it's just for, a couple of hours, and it's something that we want to keep bringing back and constantly creating this community. Love our face group, communities. I'm not putting any of that stuff down because that's fun too.
Well, I think it's better than nothing sometimes to have some form of connection on social media with other mothers, other women, people that are sharing and going through similar things. And it's great because I think more people are being vulnerable on those platforms now than there used to be. It used to be more of a show off thing. Yeah. But we are seeing that there's this need for this.
We were born to feel connected and to feel that we belong.
It's imperative. And that's why this is so fun. This is why this is going to be so amazing. Because we're going to be able to touch each other. I mean, we just are literally, and I hate to say we're just coming out of the pandemic, but truthfully, 2023, 2022 is kind of coming out. 2023, it's like, I'm coming out. We're out.
You can actually see what people look like now,
Right.
you know, no mask.
No, more festivals, more concerts, right? Like we're out. Now we're out. And so that's what's going to be so awesome about this retreat. You see a friend next to you, or, you know, you're trying to let the lady next to you know you're not alone. You can hug her, right? And so there's just so much to it with just coming together. The coming together is going to be so awesome. There's a lot for the mental health.
Yeah.
It's not just to receive, it's also to give.
Yes.
You got to give it too.
Yes.
So just as much as you want to receive a hug, you want to also give. We're meant to just really just be together and live this life with one another. And that's the beautiful part about it, is that's what this is. We're coming together and saying, let's do this. You're not alone, queen.
Yeah.
We're here to do it
Yeah.
with you. We got your back, because you got to get back to loving on you. You know, that reconnecting with you is so important, especially when it comes to self-care. That is the cornerstone, getting back in touch with you.
And I think hearing other women's stories, regardless of if you've experienced it yourself, is always a good thing. It's always helpful to just have those different levels of understanding about each other. I think it'll be such a great time for that, of just being open and understanding each other and being heard.
And being heard. That's huge.
Yes.
We can't wait to see your beautiful faces.
Yes. So what is that? July?
July 8th,
In Livermore?
It's
We're
in
going to be in Livermore.
Livermore. We've got more information to come, places where you can sign up.
Yes.
Stay on social sites with us, and we're excited to make this happen.
Yes. And excited to connect with you while you can reconnect with yourself.
That's right, girl. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. If you liked what you heard and we're your girls,
Please share and add a review on iTunes so we can continue to grow our circle. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at That's My Girl Podcast.